The Office of Management and Budget and GSA have been fielding a data integration tool to help contracting officers. Dubbed Copilot, it gathers data from various government-wide procurement systems and presents buyers with pricing histories, vendor information, and other data to help their decisions. How's the first month been going? We get an update from the Senior Advisor at the Office of Federal Procurement Policy, Christine Harada. Ms. Harada, good to have you with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
And it's been running almost a month now. And how has the take-up been so far for Copilot?
The take-up's been pretty good thus far. We had rolled it out a couple of weeks ago, as you indicated, and we have received a lot, actually, of very positive feedback from contracting officers and acquisition professionals across the federal government. We've heard feedback and comments to the effect of where has this been? And I think that it has been an extraordinarily useful tool. And I'd like to think that we also released it in a very good time from a seasonal perspective, if you will. As you know, a lot of federal government contracting does indeed happen in the last quarter of the fiscal year.
And did you beta test it with a few poor souls ahead of time, or did it simply launch? And if so, how many people have used it?
We did beta test it with a few brave souls, and of course, they provided us with some great user feedback around that. Since launch, we've had over 2,500 unique users, and we've had approximately 1,800 users who are using it on a regular basis.
Wow. And briefly walk us through how it actually works in daily situation. Say I'm a CO, I want to know what's the best pricing or what are the pricing trends for product XYZ. What do I do? Do I have a window that I type XYZ into, or what do they see?
Yes, absolutely. So it is, just as you say, it's a great tool, and it's tailored specifically for the contracting officer and acquisition professional user base, if you will. It is available to any government user, and it brings together several key facets of both the contracting officer and program manager user journey, everything from cost estimates to vendor research to quickly identifying government or agency-wide contract vehicle that can be used to meet requirements. It is currently available only for federal use, but it is basically available solely for those particular purposes. It's the product of years of user research. The team saw a need to help COs really rapidly procure the goods and services needed for COVID response while still aligning to overall good federal taxpayer stewardship as well as category management principles. And over time, the tool has evolved from a dashboard to a more integrated web application that supports a lot more robust pricing and contract research, as well as bolstering the workforce's ability to be able to get these contracts and services executed.
And are people using it able to, say, to put a cliche on here, think outside the box as the government seeks these so-called innovative companies and people that are not doing business with the government but might have great products and services the government could use? Does it see anything outside of what's already in the procurement systems in the area of market research, where I think a lot of COs, run into trouble sometimes?
So it does indeed include a find a vendor feature, and it's specifically targeted for those vendors that are registered in SAM. So you do need to be registered in SAM in order to be searchable for this particular user base.
Right. And the vehicles are all in there also?
That is correct. So especially for those contracting officers that may not have much experience or exposure to other contracting vehicles outside of their agency, that is a certainly unique benefit for these agencies. The tool enables the contracting officer to match requirements to both contracting vehicles, whether it be like with other agencies and or other government-wide vehicles.
We're speaking with Christine Harada. She's Senior Advisor to the Office of Federal Procurement Policy. And can you narrow it down? Suppose I want to know how just civilian agencies did with this, or just DOD agencies did with a certain product. Can you put parameters, or is all of the government-wide data always in every search?
It's set up so that we want to make sure that we're maximizing the data exposure. And so it's based on what are the common spend categories across the entirety of the federal government. And at the moment, the displays do show everything. So it's not that, once you download the data, et cetera, you can filter it out yourself. But we wanted to make sure that we were broadening the aperture of the data as much as we possibly could so that contracting officers can see what else is all out there.
But people don't have to download data sets then normally to use it.
That is correct.
Yeah, because that's a pain in the neck. You get all these crazy spreadsheets and different formats, and then what do you do? So this does that for you, you might say.
I guess it might be a pain it might be a pain for some people, but if you're a data nerd like me or many other contracting officers, I find that personally fun, but that's just me.
All right. Well, we'll grant you that much fun as you want. Yeah, I feel like downloading data. And how did this get developed? Was it an in-house U.S. digital service type of effort, or did you adapt a commercial product?
So this capability was developed very much based on our government user base, fundamentally built from scratch because of the very vast nature and the number of data systems that we've got across the entirety of the federal government.
But was it built by a contractor, or was it coded, in-house, just out of curiosity?
It was built by a contractor and also beta tested as a Tableau dashboard because we knew that we wanted to make sure that we're able to convert it to a web app for performance needs.
Sure. And the name Copilot, I don't know about you, but every time I get on a computer to do anything, Microsoft is telling me to use Copilot, something that it developed in the artificial intelligence area. But you had the name first.
Yes. We like the name Copilot because it ties to the acquisition gateway, and it implies that it's a way to support navigating the overall complex, acquisition process itself.
All right. And what is your plan for it? I mean, this is not touted as an artificial intelligence product, but it sure seems ripe for AI.
That's something that we're still candidly exploring. We are looking to expand both the features and the scope of this tool, including the data within it. At the moment, it enables the user to search for products, and we do envision enlarging the scope, if you will, to include services. On the radar, we're also looking to apply emerging technologies, for example, for natural language querying, so making it a little bit user-friendly in that regard.
Got it. And it sounds like it's automatically updated because, say, NASA SOUP or a new GSA GWAC is coming into the market and is launched. Those agencies would put the data online as they see fit, and therefore it would, in a sense, automatically be available to Copilot. Fair way to put it?
Yes, that's correct. The data is refreshed on a weekly cadence as we receive that data from agencies and the contracts.
And what have people told you they wish could be improved with it so far?
We're trying to get the acquisition professionals used to it, period, and enhancing the adoption across the entirety of the workforce. Two things. I think agency professionals are saying that they would like to see an increase in the scope of data, specifically around services, which of course we're working on. And they're also interested to explore AI capability itself with this, with the Copilot tool.
Right, and that's where you get into possible vendors that aren't yet in federal contracts or in SAM, because artificial intelligence companies are kind of like dandelions on my lawn.
For our purposes, we're sticking with SAM registrants. We absolutely do need the vendors to be registered in SAM. With respect to other unregistered, potential vendors, if you will, there are other methods that we're using. So, for example, you may be familiar with the Department of Defense's TradeWinds marketplace, which exposes newer vendors, potential vendors, to the Department of Defense market. So we've got other mechanisms like that. We are first and foremost, though, focused on ensuring that we are best supporting our acquisition professionals with the existing vendors already that are indeed registered in SAM. There are plenty of vendors in there, number one, but also plenty of vendors would also like to expand their offerings and services to the federal government. And so we view this as a great way for them to be able to gain that visibility with those other agencies that they have not historically served up until this point.
And a final question, what's your plan to get more than just 2,000 people? There's probably, 40,000 COs, 1102s just in DOD alone.
Sure, of course. There's actually 40,000 COs and contracting professionals across the entirety of the government, as well as 100,000 program managers. So we are doing a number of things. Number one, we're doing monthly demonstrations. Number two, we're also holding office hours to try to walk folks through the tool itself. We have also convened the Frontline Forum, and those members of the Frontline Forum have been helping us with evangelizing, if you will, the capabilities of the tools. We've also been doing agency roadshows as well as social media outreach via the acquisition gateways. We've also been engaging a lot of other groups and communities of practice. So in addition to the Frontline Forum that I mentioned, with external entities like ACT-IAC, for example. And so we definitely view this as a marathon and not a sprint as we ensure that we're steadily building out the user base. It is my view, I think our view, you that the benefits and the power of the tool is amazing. Just with products itself. And so I do think that natural enthusiasm will enable us to see a steady uptick, not just in visitors who are curious about